Welcome back to this crossover edition of Locked On Rams and Locked On Eagles. So the way you kind of look at this one playing out, I mean, this Eagles team is on a heater. This Rams team is coming off a big road win against the Patriots where Matthew Stafford really had his best game of the year, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, had gone 6 straight games with an interception. Sometimes this season with Matthew Stafford, it has been frustrating, and there has been some ups and downs, but I think the argument is his biggest weapons, his best playmakers, they weren't there. The offensive line, they dealt with issues all season long on the injury front. I think that this is the time of year where a veteran like Matthew Stafford sees the light at the end of the tunnel. He knows that he needs to play his best ball to get this team to the playoffs. I think we see another really strong performance from Matthew Stafford. I'm not here to say that the Rams are going to win. I'm not ready to throw that out there, but I do think that the Rams are going to be in this game in the fourth quarter.
No, I completely agree. I think the Rams are one of the more underrated teams in football, and I was a big fan of their roster heading into the season, and I think injuries have really derailed it. And I think for the Eagles, another motivating factor here is I don't think you want to play Matt Stafford in the first round of the playoffs. When you start looking at like who you want to play in the first round, I think that's the one team that I kind of hope doesn't get in, right? Or maybe they win the division, so you don't have to worry about that being the first matchup. So that's another reason you might want to win this game and keep the Rams down, because Matt Stafford, to me, is still a top 3 quarterback in this conference. I think they're going to be in it the entire game. I think it's going to be close. The Eagles right now, according to FanDuel, are 2.5-point favorites. I think they will cover that, and they'll take care of business and win this game in Los Angeles. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a one-score game, and it's going to be a fun chess match between 2 of the best quarterbacks in the conference and 2 of the best offensive and defensive minds in the league.
Certainly, and I also want to kind of highlight some of these rookies because for the Rams, Jared Verse has been a monster this season. When you look at sacks, when you look at pressures, he's the odds-on favorite. He's going to run away with the Defensive Rookie of the Year award.
Yeah.
And then you got Braden Fisk, who had a monster game against the Patriots. He's been continuing to get better, and I think that everything really clicked into place mid-season. The game kind of slowing down for him. They really hit on these 2 guys. And then you got Cooper DeJean. You got some players for the Eagles that have really had a great start to their careers in the NFL, and I feel like this Eagles team really needed that in year 1.
Oh, desperately, yeah. And Quinyon Mitchell in the first round has been...
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell's a beast.
I can't believe he fell to them, and they didn't even need to trade up. It's unreal how good he has been. So, yeah, I think both teams have hit their first 2 picks out of the park, and they needed it. I think both teams, it's really interesting to see kind of the lifespan of their defenses, where they had a lot of veterans, stars, high-paid players, and then that era kind of ended, and they had to adjust and draft really well. And I think both teams have done a really good job of that. I think LA more so up front, even though I really like the Cam Kitchens pick as well. But I think the Eagles, they needed really to get younger in the secondary. They were old and slow and couldn't tackle in the defensive backfield last year. And Howie Roseman normally doesn't like to draft corners early in the draft. This was the first time he took a corner in the first or second round in 7 years, and he's only done it one other time in 15 years. So it was a much-needed move. Mitchell and DeJean have been great. But yeah, for the Rams too, like, the Eagles have a really good offensive line, but they got to take this young Rams front seriously. Not just them, but a couple second-year players as well. Byron Young, Kobe Turner. That's going to be a fun, Doug, like a strength-on-strength matchup as the Eagles front their offensive line against that Rams pass rush.
Yeah, and that's the big difference between this team. Of course, you can't fill Aaron Donald's shoes as a one-of-one player. He's never coming back. But what you can do is in the aggregate, and you can have players like Kobe Turner getting pressure, and guys like Bobby Brown have been effective in the run game. Byron Young, second-year edge rusher. Michael Hoyt, who kind of just doesn't make sense. I mean, he's listed as 310. He's not 310, but he's a big dude that has success on the edge as well. And this team has been able to get pressure. This team, since their bye week, have been one of the better defenses in the NFL. Really, their weakness is the secondary and limiting big plays as well. I mean, that's kind of the area where you look at the Eagles, you look at every single level, you see a lot of quality, whereas the Rams, it's their strong suit is the defensive line. It's getting pressure, and then the linebacker play against little crossing routes, little mesh routes, they can struggle from that standpoint. The safety play, you mentioned Kitchens. I mean, guys like Cam Curl, the safety play has definitely been up to par, but it's those boundary corners and some of those kind of crossing routes those dig routes that they struggle with at times.
Yeah, Doug, that is the mismatch I'm looking at for the Eagles. Last week I said against Washington, the blueprint was run the ball against the Commanders' defense. That's how the Eagles won that game. This time around, I think if they're going to win the game and outduel Matt Stafford, it will be through the air on the backs of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. And I hope that's how they win this game, because it's unfortunate how much money they've invested in the passing game that they're still this inconsistent, but they really have been. Like, between the passing offense, the rushing offense, the passing defense, and the rushing defense, of those four units, the passing offense has been the most inconsistent. So they need to start stringing together some impressive performances through the air before the playoffs, and I hope this is a game where they do get right. They're right now 16th in overall passing DVOA, and I think that's just unacceptable when you have as many weapons as they do. So I think the key is to pass the ball in this game, and I want to see the Eagles be more consistent in that way, especially early in the game.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the big key. And I think at home, if you're the Rams, you need to find some way to get a better showing from the running game. I mean, since the bye week, I mean, you look at where the Rams are at, they're 25th in rushing success rate, they're 28th in EPA. I mean, you've really been a bottom 5 running team, and you don't have that explosive player like a Saquon Barkley. But what you do have is Kyren Williams, someone that can be consistent, that has dealt with some turnover issues in the last couple of games. But you really need more of a balance, and you need to find a way to keep that explosive Eagles offense off the field. If the Rams think that they can just rely on getting explosive plays when they really haven't had as many this season, Vic Fangio, he's designed to stop that. If they think that they need to play a clean football game, Matthew Stafford has to be on. The Rams basically have to bring their A game to have any chance of winning convincingly. They don't really blow teams out, but you need an A game from the Rams and need to hope that you get kind of a B minus game from the Eagles.
And Doug, it's such an important game for the Rams. I mean, that entire division is 6-4 or 5-5, and it's kind of a bloodbath in the NFC West right now. So this is as much of a must-win game for LA as there come.
By the way, man, I've been looking for my picture. I have a picture with Saquon Barkley. I can't find it. Whatever. I was going to show up, but I'll send it to you on the side, man. I need that T-shirt where he's going the reverse.
Oh, I bought one. I have
hurdle.
The shirt.
You got the shirt?
I got the shirt. Yeah.
He's wearing the LeBron cleats.
Yep.
Saquon Barkley, man. He's been unstoppable. But how do you see this one playing out? Because the way I look at it is this. I mean, this is a Rams team that they don't ever see themselves punting on seasons. They don't ever see themselves tanking. I mean, they're always in it to win every single game. And when you have an elite quarterback when he's right, a Super Bowl winning head coach, veterans that care, and then rookies that are emerging, the Rams are going to bring it on Sunday Night Football. It's just, can you go out there and execute, and is there that big of a talent gap between the Rams and the Eagles? That's kind of what I worried about, because you look at their top 10 best players kind of matched up, you feel okay about that. When you kind of get past that, that's where the Eagles definitely have an advantage. But I do think that the Rams are going to be in this one in the fourth quarter. I think they certainly will cover, but I'm going to sleep on it one more night to throw out my prediction.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Again, the line right now is 2.5. It's kind of a rat line there. So I kind of like the Eagles to cover that. I think it will be a one-possession game, but I'll take that minus 2.5. The over-under right now is at 48.5. Doug, I think there's going to be points in this game, so I'd probably take the over on that. But when it comes to like straight up, I think the Eagles will win this game. But yeah, I think it's going to be close. And again, the Rams need it badly. So I don't think this is going to be like even the game. I was surprised at how commanding of a win the Eagles had, no pun intended, against Washington. I don't think it's going to be the same kind of setup for Sunday Night Football or the same outcome.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a Sunday Night Football game for a reason, right? So you got to love that. Last question I have for you. Favorite Eagles uniform? Are you a throwback Kelly Green guy? I still always like the black. I know that sometimes
cool.
The black, especially now that they've had the black helmets. I'm feeling those.
Yeah, they've been experimenting a lot finally the past few years with different jerseys. They've even implemented the black pants with the white helmet, or with the white jersey and the black helmet. They did that this year for the first time in the Brazil game. Kelly Green is the best looking jersey to me in the NFL, but I'm somebody that grew up with the Eagles being midnight green, and I think nostalgia sells in the league. So if everyone's now saying, "Oh, go to Kelly Green," I think that if the Eagles went to Kelly Green full time, everybody then would call for the midnight green. I just think that's kind of the way it works. So I think they have the perfect balance right now of the midnight green being the main, which is what I want. They won a Super Bowl in those jerseys. That's what I know. And the Kelly Green's the alternate with the black. I think they have the perfect rotation right now. Kelly Green looks the best, But for me, when I think of the Eagles, Doug, I do think of the midnight green. So I think those are crisp. I want to keep changing up though. Give me green on green. When the black jerseys are out, give me white pants or green pants instead of all black. I want to be like the Oregon
Ducks on us, huh?
That's what I was gonna say. I want complete jersey freedom in the NFL. We're finally getting there with the multiple helmets now that are available, but I want them to go all in on the college football style.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely where they're going towards. The NFL loves that. They like cohesion, but they also like more money, and you definitely go that route.
What do you think about the Rams jerseys?
So, I mean, I'm look with the Rams jersey. I think when they first dropped, I was a little torn on them because I just think that, I mean, you look at Sports Illustrated in the '80s, they had the Rams as the #1 jersey in the NFL for a long time.
Right.
Classic look. The horns are
great
classic,
colors.
but I have grown to like the modern throwback. The white with the yellow is my favorite combination. Actually. The blue with the yellow is my second favorite. The soul with the Rams Royal. But look, I mean, for me, you've seen some teams kind of go a little like the Browns and the Buccaneers, for example. They kind of went a little backwards to a little more of a throwback look. They're going to rebrand at some point, and I kind of want to see a little more of a throwback, a little more traditional look from the Rams look. But yeah. I mean,
I agree. I think this is better than like the St. Louis Rams look for sure. I'm not a navy blue guy at all.
Yeah, what's funny? I will say, like, I know a lot of Rams fans kind of hate those jerseys, but for me, that's kind of like when I was a really young kid. That's when I started playing like video games, and that's fair. Team with Marshall Faulk and the Greatest Show on Turf, and also kind of like represents that era of the Rams, kind of those. But I don't love them, right? But I'm like, they kind of have their place in Rams history.
I like when teams kind of do a modern version of a throwback, and that's kind of what the Rams are doing. But I'm with you, though. Just go all the way back. Like, when you have a jersey that was as good as the Rams had in the 80s, just like, keep it simple, stupid, and just go back to those jerseys. So that would be
or at the very least, give me one throwback night per year, like you're doing with the Kelly Greens. That's all I ask for. You don't have to go full time. We'll stay with them.
Seattle's doing with theirs. The throwback. The NFL is crushing it right now with throwback jerseys. So I hope the Rams get involved in that for sure.